Darren Schneider has worked in the real estate industry for the last 15 years. The first 8 years, Darren worked as a real estate agent within Canada, as well as 2 years in Latin America. With a strong interest in marketing and a desire to strengthen organized real estate, Darren moved into the tech sector and began working with Realty Service Systems in 2013. As founder of the new Exposure MLS platform, Darren is thrilled to personally present this system here in the Bahamas. And happy to say the Bahamas is one of the first in North America to have this new technology. I'd just like to say thank you to Helen DePuch, MLS Chair. Thank you all for coming, and especially to those who traveled from the Out Islands. We know it's not always easy. For those who would like to join the MLS, please see Tanika over there at the front. And please join me in welcoming Darren Schneider.
Thank you, Christine. So it's exciting to be here, and it's a lot of fun to see how many people have showed up. It shows that you're interested in your business, and it makes it a lot more fun for me to be able to show you what we've been working on over the past 7 years. I'd like to introduce my business partner, Brian, and our wives, Sonia and Nelda. So because the Bahamas is so beautiful, we had to bring them along, and we can enjoy your beautiful land and people. So as we get into the program, I think what we're going to do is divide it into sections. So we'll have maybe 10 or 15 minutes. We'll take you through a section, and then we'll open it up for questions and answers. So if you have a question, save it for after that. Make sure that you put it out there. We're going to have a roving mic. Christine will be able to bring the mic to you so all can hear your question. And also it's being recorded so that those on the outer islands will be able to get this via video. So with the MLS system, we know that it's a multi-listing system, and that your listings, the homes that you're listing for sale, go into this system so that other agents have the opportunity to sell that listing as well. And we know that the power behind the system has been in place for many decades in different lands. North America, I think, is the strongest, but we have systems in many countries, and our latest one is opening up in Africa, in Ghana. And people want to get more organized. You'll notice that as we go through this system, it really is about the listing, and you'll see that there's a website built for every single listing that goes into the MLS, as well as a system created for the public to be able to see. So they have an expression, the guy with the gold makes the rules. In our business, who's the person that has the gold? It's the seller and the buyer, right? So if we can please the seller and the buyer in everything that we do, and if we bring value to the transaction in doing that, we'll sustain our business, and it'll be profitable well into the future. So let's go into this a little bit deeper, because we're not only going to show you an MLS system, we're also going to show you what we're calling a content delivery system, because this is really what consumers are looking for. They're looking for content built around your listings. So again, you're going to have some questions, and we're going to just try to deal with this very large product in the most logical way that we can. So I thought the most logical way is to show you how to set up your account or your profile. We're used to social media and so on, so we're used to seeing profiles and setting up these sort of things, and the MLS is exactly the same. Okay, so under your account tab, and by the way, in Interface Express as of today, you will notice that when you go to log in after this session, you will find that there will be an exposure link in the top right-hand corner. So it will look like this logo here, in the top left corner here. When you click on that link, it will log you directly into the new MLS system. So both systems will run in parallel with each other, as long as we need until you're fully up to speed with the new system. And that being said, we still have about a month and a half to complete the new system, so you're actually seeing this before it's actually completed. We have a release date of April 1st to have all things completed, but you will see that almost everything is in place, and you'll be able to start using that new system no problem. So when you log in, the first thing to do is go under your account tab. There you'll see that you have the ability to add your personal image. This is very important because this system also creates a public side that the public is going to see. And once we have enough agent images in place, we're going to make that live. Also, for those who use private client services, you'll be able to enable an automatic sign-up through your system, and we're going to get into that. You can enable it here so that clients can automatically sign into PCS right from the public side of this system. Also, you can add a video biography or a written biography. You'll need to check the green button and save changes as you move through. If you add a video biography to your account, it helps consumers get to know you, and I can imagine what an international market that you deal with. So many of your clients won't know who you are, and they'll be searching for an agent to choose to use in their transaction. If you have a short video about yourself, just a raw, down-to-earth video about who you are, that'll go a long ways into letting consumers know something about you. A lot of agents use this section here also to show your testimonials, so feel free to do that. Here as well, you'll see that your information from the MLS is automatically pulled in, but if you want to add your cell phone number to your business page or your websites for your listings, you can do that here, and that will show. All right, so very simple, straightforward, set up your account. Now, under your listings, I think what we'll do is we'll get into how to load listings into the MLS. This is a brand new structure that works on your computer, on your tablet, on your cell phone, depending on how you want to load a listing into the system. So it's called MLS Autoload, and you can open that up. And we're going to just do a real quick run through as if you were doing all of this yourself. You don't use a photographer, you take your own photos, things like that. Okay, and then I'm going to show you how we're bringing photographers into this equation. Okay, so here I think you won't have an assessment authority that brings in your data automatically. But you would then just fill this out manually. You'll fill out your PI, your different legal descriptions and so on and so forth. We're not going to get into that too deeply because this one is built a little bit different, but yours will be suited to your MLS structure. So you will drop a pin on the map, and then you can set Street View to open up looking at the property, and then just keep moving forward through the system. When it comes to adding photos, it's unlimited, so you can add as many photos as you want, and we keep these photos at what's considered a high-res format for the internet, so it's 1280 pixels. So when the consumer's looking at them, they look fantastic. Also, you can add a caption to every photo if you choose to, and all you do to rearrange them is just drag and drop. Then you move forward. And as you're moving forward, your photos are going to load in the background. Here you can add floor plan images, as many as you want, and then you can assign them to what level they are, and these will show up. You can add a PDF of that floor plan. You can also add a video tour that you've taken of the property here. And those who use the 3D showcase type structures like a Matterport or an iGuide or different ones like that, you can add those different links here, and they will be pulled into the system. Also your documents. So if you want to upload, say, your listing contract for yourself, you could do that. Let's say, okay, we're looking at a listing contract, and here it is here. It will now use this as a central repository for your documents. So if you want to store your documents all around that listing in one location, feel free to use this Documents tab in Autoload. So it will always be in your MLS system. It will never go away. you can use it that way. Also, for documents that you want to share with your fellow agents, let's say it's a property disclosure statement, you can choose that. And you'll see that it shows that it's for listing agents and managing brokers to view. The first one we added, this one for agents says any realtor can see it. So it will tell you what category it's under, whether it's for in your broker's eyes only or for any realtor within the MLS. Also, open houses. By show of hands, do we do open houses here? Yeah? Okay, so here's an interesting switch on this system. Sometimes we have agents that are so busy they don't want to do open houses because they're just listing like crazy. But then we have new agents that would love to do an open house. What would you think if you could assign the agent who wanted to do the open house and you could make it show in their template with their face on it on the public system? So when the consumer came and they were looking for open houses, it would see the agent that was going to do that open house for you. And I think they would like that. So this system allows you to choose what agent you want to be able to assign to that open house. And we'll get into a little bit further into this, how it shows in the future here. Measurements as well. I don't think it's required in your board to add room measurements, but if you want to, this system is designed to very easily do it while you're on site. So let's say you're on a cell phone, you can have this process started. If you're using a tape measure or a laser meter to take your room measurements, you can add them in place as you move forward. And of course, the more content that you add to your listing, the more value you add to the consumer. Because if they have a grand piano they want in the living room, and you put the measurements down exactly how big each room is, it goes a long ways to helping. And then data entry, which you're used to, except we put a little bit of a spin on this. When you're going to your data entry part, anything that's red is required. Anything that's green has been completed. Anything that's gray is optional, but if you complete it, then it goes green. So we can see as we start adding different things, the fields go green. And as you scroll through your data entry form, you'll quickly see if anything's missing or if it's complete, and then you can submit it. Now, we're just going to go quickly back to the beginning here, and we're going to show you what you could do if you use a professional photographer. So just by a show of hands, how many people use a photographer to do your photos and your videos, floor plans, anything like that? Okay, good. So it's similar to in Canada. So in that case, what you would do here is right on the front page, you can choose a photography company, and you can see the photographers here are very engaged with this system. They love the fact that they can push their content directly into the MLS for you. It gives them more value, and it makes it a lot easier for you. So what you would do is you would pick a photographer, you would put the instructions here, and then you would click send to the photographer. What would happen then is they would get that message. They would be able to upload your photos, your media. They would be able to put a PDF of your floor plan in place. They can even add all of your measurements. So if you want to pay somebody to do all of your measurements, they can do that as well. So you can add the first couple of pages here, click save, send it to your photographer. They'll email you back. All of that content will be in place. You just need to finish your data entry and submit your listing, and it's completed. Okay, so let's just open this up to questions. Any questions that we have about this product thus far? Working with photographers or adding content to a listing? Okay. Christine's going to bring the mic to you, okay?
The information that is already on the MLS will be automatically uploaded into the new system.
Yes. Okay, so the question is everything that's in the MLS now? Yes, so the two systems will work perfectly together. Because it's the same company that's building both, we've made sure that as you as agents move into the new one, it doesn't matter, everything works seamlessly. Yeah, so you will not need to upload anything new or upload any new listings. Okay?
I know you said that there's unlimited photos, but is there a minimum?
That
be
would be up to
accepted?
your board. So, Helen, can you answer that for me?
Now, right?
There's a minimum of 5.
That remains?
Yep.
So far, yeah.
And that's, in my opinion, and I'm very opinionated, as you'll find out, but in my opinion, that's phenomenal. We have some boards that have 0, we have some that have 1. When it gets up to 3 or 5, that means that you're waiting till you actually have your media done before you put your listing live. And that benefits everyone, because as you know, through the hot sheet as agents, you get that listing, you look at the hot sheet for that day. If there's no photos there, click, you go to the next one. You did nothing for that seller. Same with PCS. Those anxious buyers, when they get hit with a new listing through PCS, they look at it immediately. If there's no photos or media, they move on. And so yes, you may have added more in a day or two, but you miss that first initial kick at the can where you've got serious buyers and serious agents. So having that minimum of 5 is excellent. Another question? Let's get the mic
yeah.
to you. Oh, okay.
Can we expect the quality of the images to be better?
The
than what
quality
they
of
are now?
images?
Yeah.
Yes, so now the images will be 1280 wide. I was looking through your system and they're pretty small, right? So now they're going to be full screen. So when you look at them on any size screen, even for print, the quality is there. So the way we chose to do quality is that it's good enough that it looks good when you print a brochure right from the MLS. Yeah. Okay? All right, one more question and then we'll move forward.
Thanks. When the photos for the existing listings are transferred over, are we going to have to put higher quality images in to account for the new level of quality on the new site?
Okay, that's a really good question. The answer officially is no, but I'll tell you what. If I were you, this is exactly what I would do. I would go to my listings tab and I would click edit on my listings. So you're going to see that all of your listings are going to show like this below. When you start using the new auto load, they're going to change a little bit and they're going to show differently. So I would click edit on the listing. And I would start adding new content. So I would add, for example, you can click replace photos and you can put your high-res photos in place. So let's say you have a high-price listing and you know it's going to be listed for the next number of months. I would replace those photos. You spent a ton of money on them. Put the new ones in place. If you have floor plans or a video tour, upload it right here. If you have a 3D showcase or an iGuide, upload it. You can print a QR code that'll automatically take the user back to your website that's created for this. You can also create a print brochure. In fact, while we're here, why don't we just walk you through this? Let's say we want to create a web brochure for this listing and attach it to this listing. Before we do that, I'm going to just show you what this listing looks like. Mind you, it's a sold listing, but. Okay, so there's the listing. There's no brochure here. Let's just go back. Let's create a web brochure. When you click the web brochure part, this will actually attach it to the website that's being created for your listing. If you click create additional print materials, you can create as many print materials as you want. How many here produce brochures and leave them with the seller, or you bring them along and distribute them to the buyer? Do many agents do brochures? Yeah? Okay. So let's just walk through this. I'm going to show you how easy it is. I used to work for Remax as my last brokerage, and we tried to use that brochure system, and we almost went into a riot. It was so difficult to use, so we knew we needed to create something that was easier. So for any broker owners in here, just so you know, this system can be customized to use your own company's templates. There's a one-time fee to get them put into place. Once they're in place, all of your agents can use those templates to create their brochures. Agents, you can also add your own templates. So if you have a custom look and you want to follow your brand, you can have that put in there again. One-time fee, once it's in, you can use it. I'll give you an example of some of the generics that are in place. So let's pick this one. You click edit on that brochure. What it'll do is it'll bring that template in place. It'll bring all your photos to the left-hand side. It'll populate it with your MLS information. If you see a red line around it, you may have a little bit too much information, so you may want to cut some of that out, but let's just leave it for now. With your photos, what we can do is the photos on the left, you simply drag and drop them into the window where you want that photo, and then you can drag that box to crop it. So this system is so easy that there's no excuse not to have print materials if you choose to have print materials. So there we are. If you want to change this, you can just highlight that. Let's say this is a great family home. We're done. Let's go save the changes. And what it's doing now is it's producing a high-res PDF, fully print ready and able to be sent to your print company. So we go back to our control center and we look at this. So let's just download what we created, or you can email it to your print company here. And there's the brochure that we built literally in however long it took us, a couple of minutes. All right, again, any of your print materials can go in there. So let's just see if there's a couple of questions about the Design Center before we move on. Okay.
Good afternoon. Are you able to upload your logo on the brochure?
Onto the template here.
Yes.
Onto the generic ones, the answer is no. But this is why we allow you to upload at one time your entire branded brochure, because we know that agents want to have their own look. They want to follow their own brand. So it's too complicated to make these generic templates work for everyone. So what we've done is we've allowed you to bring your own into the system. Okay, one more question.
If you just wanted to send the brochure to your client, can you do that?
Yeah, via email?
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's just go back to the control center.
Also, would I be able to just print it off and take it with me rather than having to
Absolutely.
send it? Okay.
Yes, so just download it and print it on your local photocopier. If you've got a nice color copier or so on, just do it that way. Okay, well, let's have one more up front here.
Just one, the fee.
What's
What's the fee for the one?
It's all included in your MLS. Yeah, so as we go through this, everything is included in your brand new MLS system. There's going to be one thing at the end that I'm going to show you that's new. It's a new module that you can choose to add to your MLS, and we'll take a vote as to who wants that. But that will be the only price change, and that's only going to be $1 per agent per month. Okay, and we'll leave that to the last because it's a brand new piece of technology. Okay, one more.
Good afternoon. It's just waiting until Christine got to her seat to make her walk back. You're getting in all your steps today. Yeah, I was just wondering if this update of the MLS system is available in some other format besides live today. Like, is there any notes or resources available so we can, have it in a full, I don't know, if a presentation or of some kind, something, I don't know.
Okay, actually within the MLS system, you're going to see here in the top right corner, there's a button that says Tutorials. If you click that on, you'll be able to walk through these tutorials one step at a time, and that'll help you to figure out this brand new system. Also, this is being videoed, so you'll be able to watch this video again if you choose. You've got a fantastic MLS committee that may be able to give you some extra support. And also here at the top where it says Need Help, that will come to our tech department and we'll be able to answer your technical questions. If your MLS group committee cannot handle that, or the board can't handle it, we'll be able to handle it for you. All right. Okay, so let's move forward. Now let's just talk about how your listing websites are going to be found and where people will find them. So we're going to use an existing board here on Vancouver Island as an example, but then I'll show you that your group is set up already with an existing system. So let's go what a consumer would do, and we're going to type in, say, a search term, and here comes up the board's site. This is all the other realtor sites. So this is what we get immediately from at least one or two, and thanks for bringing that up. Sometimes when the board puts forward a public portal, agents feel like they're being overrun. But the reality is, this is only a delivery system to get your listings that you created in front of the consumer. And so we have 10 slots on the front page of a Google search. We want to fill all 10 of those slots up with realtor-owned websites, realtor-owned portals. If you follow what's happening in the States, you'll see that the third-party portals that are not owned by realtors, that are not owned by the board, are overtaking all of the efforts of our industry. So this product was created to give the consumer a better offering than the third-party aggregators. And if we can dominate the system with your local brokerages, with the boards, with the agent sites, then we're doing our job. Okay? So I'll show you what I mean by that. So here we have all the different listings. We click on some of them, and we see it's opening in the template of the agent that owns that listing with the content that they added. It's all about them. It's their phone number, it's their email, it's their social media, their PCS here, which agents can sign up to. I'm just going to walk you through a few more of these. You can't. Okay, so if you don't want to put your listings through a system like this, you don't have to. Okay. Okay, well, you're a little early with that question, but let's come back around to it a little bit later, but let's also show you right now what the little guy gets. So you've got, it sounds like Sotheby's has got a big presence here. Okay. Okay, so sometimes the big franchises look like the bullies. Or sometimes there's certain agents that are independents that have been around a long time and they have the majority of the listings. And it's like a new guy comes up, he wants to have his own brokerage. What is he supposed to do? How is he supposed to compete? Okay, well, one thing is this is only one platform. Your brokerage is also given a platform, but you as an individual agent is also given a platform. So I want you to think of this a little bit differently. I want to just say this system produces a business page or a website for every single agent. So let's say somebody, oh, hold on here, somebody typed in your name or they did some kind of a search, something to do with you. Okay. And you know what? If you spend the time and the effort on the SEO, you can get it there. Absolutely. Okay, now here's the thing. Let's say you got on the front page with your personal website, and let's say this was it. And one of the tools that this system provides is it provides the ability for consumers that come to your site to be able to look at all the listings as well. So hopefully we get our Wi-Fi to cooperate here. But let's just say they click on search. Now there's all the listings, exactly like the board site, and it looks the same, it functions the same, all the listings are there in all their glory, but every single that's listed, every time a listing is clicked on, it now shows up in your template. No matter what brokerage that listing came from. Every single agent in the board has these tools to be able to build and promote their business. In the end, the goal is to sell listings. That's why we cooperate as a multi-listing system. The goal is to sell the listing. So here you are, you're a small company, you only have a handful of listings, and you're competing against the giants, but what the reality is you now have hundreds of millions of dollars worth of inventory to sell without having to have all those listings yourself. Does that make sense? That's the power of the MLS. So if you don't want your listings on a system like this, then there's other options, especially here. Where I'm from, it's against the law to sell without a license. But here, I think you can sell and not be part of the MLS. The problem is you lose hundreds of millions of dollars worth of inventory that you personally could sell. So it's a give and take. Yes, you don't want anybody else to show up. You want to be the guy with all the listings and get all the clients. But without all those other agents, how are you going to have anything to sell? Does that answer your question? No? Okay. We'll keep going through it, and we'll get there eventually. Yeah, worldproperties.com is just another aggregator. This is more of a local board tool that we can use as individual agents. All right, so let's just go through some of these listings. And we're going to show you some of the features, just one second, some of the features that are built into these individual listings. So if you want to add content, you can. And this is what it would look like if you do. So again, your photos, you can have unlimited photos. It goes to a full screen gallery. If you get your photographer to make them a little bit wider, they'll go widescreen. It's not held to any kind of a ratio. Your floor plans will be there. And also we've created an app for the iPad that your photographer can use. And he can actually drop little icons onto the floor plan that allow the consumer to walk through that floor plan and get a good idea of what it looks like. They can add images, panoramas, video clips. If you have a property, let's say you've got a very unique property that's oceanfront, it's got some outbuildings, a boathouse, and so on, you can drop a property view, a satellite view of that property, and allow consumers to walk around that property and look at these different things. Drop a video clip in front of that boathouse and really show some amazing things to do with that property. The 3D showcase, I think there's a number of you using Matterport here. It's a good product and it allows that consumer to walk through. So we can build that, we've built that directly into this web platform so that consumers can be able to see, exactly what it is that you're selling. And great products like this, and this is taking a real strong move in the right direction. So we're going to keep doing questions just in maybe another 10 minutes, and then we'll call on you. Multimedia, that'll bring in your different panoramas and video clips. If you have a video, that'll show up here. Brings in your MLS details, but of course these are just all public details. Also the location of the property, including street view. And if you have walk score, that will be here, showing different elements of what's close to that property. Even travel time, which is a unique little product that shows you how far you can walk or drive or bike within a certain area. Now, when a person clicks on comparables, then it'll bring up the 10 closest comparables, if there's 10 available, within that area. But because they came through your website, it sticks with you as the agent. So as they click on these different listings, again, it comes up in your template. It's all about you as the agent. So as was brought out, it's important that you get your listings in front of clients. because once you've done that, the system sticks with you. Here you'll see that they can sign up into your PCS account directly from your listing or from your listing portal here. So this says, create your own personal listing search in less than 1 minute. You'll have access to all property details for every listing. You'll be notified immediately by email when a new property comes to market matching your search criteria. A private website that shows all matching listings will be created automatically for you. Access is completely free without obligation. And then they can circle the area that they want to search. They can set their criteria and then click next. They will then fill out their name and their email. You will then get an email that shows you what that criteria is, who that agent is, or who that client is. You will need to click Activate Now in that email, and they will automatically be put into your PCS system, and they will get your access codes so that they can start seeing listings. Now it's up to you as an agent to follow up with that client and make sure you develop that relationship. But this system automates clients being able to get this information directly from you as quickly as possible. You'll notice here too that it says click here to view more properties. Let's say the 10 comparables isn't enough. We can actually open up that portal and bring in all the properties for them to be able to look at. Now, you guys can think about this. This would be a board rule that you can decide on. But what would you think if on that comparables page we brought in 5 solds? And let's say we showed them back as far as 3 months or maybe 6 months. Or what if on your individual portals we allowed under the status filter to show active or pendings or sold listings maybe back 6 months? It's up to you. Just throwing it out there. And you know what? As we do that, you'll see that if we serve the consumer will continue to come to our industry for information. Okay, he added an about profile, and here we see he added a video about himself, and it allows people to get to know this fellow, and that's his personality right there. So you can do that as well as a written biography, and it's very useful. Now, one of the tools that I would highly encourage you to use is social media. And what I mean by that is you don't necessarily post it to your own account unless you have a business page, fine, but get your seller to post it to their Facebook account. Because when they do that, all their friends that see their house like it because it's their friend's house, and your face is attached to it. And so it propagates like crazy, and you'll see that we have a whole stat system built behind this. You'll see Facebook generates hundreds, if not thousands of views, and it costs you nothing. And it gets your face in front of a lot of people in your neighborhood as well as internationally. And it's what we call exposure, and it doesn't cost a thing. Okay, so let's just open this up for questions about the listing site itself. Okay, there's one in the back. Sorry.
So on the current interface, you can only choose either a single-family home, duplex, whatever. Will this allow you to customize your listing? For instance, I have a house with a cottage, but the only way that people know that I have a cottage attached to this listing is if they read through the description, because it's showing as a single family.
Yeah, and you would also like it to show as cottage? Yeah, okay, so that's your MLS structure. Some MLSs allow you to, say, list it as a single family and a farm. So that wouldn't apply here, but if you're looking under farm status, for example, it will show the same houses as it does under single family. But typically, I think what you're going to find as people start searching through this process, let me just go to a listing portal again. They're going to click their area, so we know we want to search here, and then they're going to be able to see here what type of things. You see, if I was looking for a cottage, I think I would still want to put it under single family because I'm looking to buy something smaller. If I wanted a cottage with a single family, I would still go under single family and start going through the price categories I could afford. When you can add media like floor plans or a Matterport, or for example, you could add to this listing, okay, now I'm getting closer to what you're asking for. You can go here. Just bear with me. Okay, let's say the video tour. You can change that video tour to not say video tour. You could say a cottage tour, and there would be a video about your cottage. Or you can add an extra link here, a custom link at the bottom of your website, of the web page for the listing, and you could call it cottage. And that way, on that listing, you're gonna have photos, but right in the menu, in this menu here, there's gonna be something that says cottage. Would that be helpful?
Maybe, but if I had somebody that was looking for a house that had, maybe they have an aging parent that they want space for, or maybe income, they would have to go through all the single-family houses to see that, to be able to pick it out, or they would have to go through cottage and then look to see if any of these cottages had a main house to go with it.
Okay. What if you set up your...
My question really was, can we customize the type of listing it is? Maybe that'll help answer the question. As opposed to just being able to pick from a list that is already there.
Yeah. Let's get you the mic, 1 second.
If you have one listing that has more than one categories it would fit, or applications. So maybe it could be a residential property, but it also could be a commercial property. Or I think in the example that she gives, it's a house that could have maybe an income aspect of it. It might have a part that could be rented as an apartment, but it's not fully like a duplex, triplex, or something like that. A property that has multiple categories it would fit. How would that be treated, or is there some custom way to present that?
Okay. How we do this for the boards that I'm more familiar with, we would have, for example, a single-family home. So this is in the search that you could send out through PCS or through your MLS. So you would pick single-family home, and then what you would do is you would go into, for example, amenities, and you would click additional accommodation. And it would only bring out the single-family properties with additional accommodation. And that's all that would go out. Okay?
Thanks. I had a question with regards to the comparables that you had there. You
Yeah.
said going back 6 months. Can we expand that to, say, 2 years?
Oh, I mean, for showing solds?
Yes.
You know what? That is a board decision.
Okay.
I'm just throwing it out there because this is where everything's moving up in Canada and the United States. Is, for example, the Competition Bureau in Canada made the Toronto Real Estate Board have to show solds. So they have to give away their sold data now. I'm saying, should we be proactive as agents and give consumers what consumers want so that they always come back to us as an industry, instead of allowing some other third party to force us to give them that content and then they get the consumer? Why don't we just do it as an industry?
Okay.
Okay?
And this new system also allows us to do a CMA?
Yeah, we'll come to that.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay, one more and then we better carry on.
I got the part about the additional accommodation, but a property that has both residential and commercial, how might that be represented?
Okay, so what we do in that case, because that's common, is we list it both residentially and on the commercial side. Because on the commercial side, you're going to represent it to be this commercial type property with these features. So it's a completely separate listing from the residential. And so, for example, here I'm in residential search. If I go over to ICI search, that listing will show up there too. But it will have a residential component. So yeah, it will cover both gamuts. Okay? All right, so back to our listings. So let's just talk about a little bit more about where these listings actually show up. We were there briefly, but let's just walk through that a little bit more before we get too deep into this. Okay, so we see the board has a portal that's provided that shows all of the agents' listings, all of the brokerage listings in the brokerage's templates if they choose, in the agent's individual templates. It's all about the agent and the brokerage. But let's say the brokerage wants to use these tools. That can be done here as well. I'm going to open this one, but I'm also going to show you an example here. So here's a small brokerage. And so back to the fellow's question here about how does this system support a small company? So here's a little brokerage. We don't do their website for them. They've done it themselves. But we provide this widget here so that the consumer can come and say, yeah, okay, I want these listings. They've already kind of shown what their ballpark type of product is that they want to sell. The consumer clicks search. The portal opens up. All the listings that belong to that brokerage show up on the right-hand side first. Okay, so it's all about that brokerage, their contact, their PCS account. They've got it all branded to their logo, their look. Now notice that theirs are colored in purple, so they don't have a ton of listings. And then the ones that are reciprocity listings or they belong to other brokerages are in gray. And so when a consumer clicks on one of those, it opens up in the realtor that's on duty at that given time. Whether he's on floor duty in the office or whether he's just knows that he's on duty to take care of all leads coming in. Raise of hands, do you do floor duty? Yes? Okay. So let's just walk through this. Let me tell you, I'll get your feedback on what you think of it. So let's go to this brokerage here. This is a bigger brokerage. So there's about 300 agents in this brokerage. And we see it's the same. So they have more listings that belong to them. They're in orange. But the gray ones do not belong to them. They're reciprocity listings. And if you click on one of them, again, it will open up in the agent that's assigned to floor duty for that given area of the island. So if you have multiple brokerages, this would show up in a different agent. If they were on the east side, it would open in a different template as compared to an office on the west side or the north and the south, depending on how your offices are divided up. New agents that are looking for new business absolutely love this feature because it gives them a shot at getting a client. Whereas busy agents don't want to be bothered with a lot of the constant questions that are coming in. So it serves the brokerage really well. And this is an option that a brokerage can use. So this is a price upgrade. It's $39.95 a month, where the brokerage can have the portal integrated for their agents on their site under their domain. And just to clarify, when I say domain, all the listings that are owned by that brokerage will go under the brokerage's domain. All the reciprocity listings will go under the board's domain. Okay? This is structured so that it is a hierarchy so that it continues to push the brokerage and the board's portals up to the top of the search organically. Because SEO is complicated and it's expensive, but because of this structure and every agent having their own system, it helps push up the brokerage and board's SEO. And remember, if you own 5% of the market, you're going to own 5% of the board's portal. If you own 1%, you'll have 1% on there, but it still represents your ownership of listings in your region. Okay, any questions on the boards or the brokerage portals?
I think maybe what Peter was alluding to is how, right now we have an IDX feed, right? So
Yep.
all the listings appear on our own personal or business websites. So this is now another added feature. However, the IDX feed allows each company to display all of the listings that are on the MLS as if it was their own.
Yep.
So now this is another angle. Is that?
Okay, now just so we don't get this mixed up, this belongs to the board. So this doesn't belong to us. It's not our site, it's the board site. The reason that we're moving away from an IDX feed is because this system is built to share media throughout. IDXs are set up to share listing images and content only. And what we found is that different third-party aggregators took that IDX and used it for their own profit. And then they charged you 30% for the referral fee to get that client. You may not have that problem here yet. Trust me, it's coming. Okay? Now, what we're doing with this system is you can keep your IDX. It'll work perfectly like it does. You do not need to replace it. If you choose to replace it, this is what will happen, is your media that you add as an agent, actually, let's just go down here. You can choose as an agent to share your media with all the other agents across the island, or across all of the Bahamas. So that means, you know, eventually you have about 400 now. If you get 500, 600, 700 agents, every single one of them will be able to show that listing in all its glory because you spent money on that content, because you want to sell that property and you want it represented with the beautiful images you took and with the Matterport, the floor plans, everything you spent money on. Okay, so for example, this is your listing. It's in your template. You have your floor plans in place. You could make them interactive. You have your 3D showcase. You may have a different type of a 3D tour. Those will then pass through. So let's say somebody came to that listing through another brokerage's site through this new tool, and it shows the realtor that's on floor duty. Your high-res images are there. Your floor plans are there. Your 3D showcase is there, so that that property gets represented the way the seller wants it represented. If you don't want to share your media, you don't have to. You can opt out. But then you can't display everyone else's media on your own system, okay? There is power in giving the consumer the best experience and doing it together as an organization. There's a lot of power in cooperation, and it's what gives us the strength as an industry. The reason we came together to share our listings to begin with is so that we would have more listings to sell. And that cooperative effort has strength, and it's working. If we take it to the next level and give that buying consumer more power, our industry goes that much stronger. And so far, we haven't had a single agent opt out of this. We have this in about 7 boards now, and we haven't had one agent opt out. But if you want to opt out, it's built into the system, so you don't need to do that. Now, that's showing it through a brokerage. Now, let's say somebody came to your website as a personal agent, and they found that listing. Again, it's in your template as a personal agent with all that media there. Now, what doesn't show through is if you add a video tour or a brochure or an extra link, those do not go through the reciprocity of media process because they're all about you, and they should be all about you. The video can be all about you standing there talking and so on. So that shows on the main system. Anything to do with your system, your website, you sending things out through PCS or the MLS search, those features will all be there. They're just simply not put through this reciprocity of media. Okay, so let's open it up for questions with this. Here at the front.
Hi. I'm feeling a bit thick. I don't think I really get it. Sorry. Are you saying that you're trying to replace the old IDX feed? I have my brokerage, and they have their own website, and I have my own website. And I have my own website, which feeds off of the MLS through the IDX feed.
Yeah.
Are you now saying that I will have to pay a fee on a monthly basis to have a feed like that? I'm not really getting it.
Actually, for an individual agent, the system produces websites for you at no cost and includes that complete listing portal.
But I already have my own website with my unique URL.
Yeah. And you can use that URL if you want to use this, but the system also will give you these tools at no cost to add to your own website if you choose to. So we can just flip there right now if we want, and we'll come back to this. But here under the Web tab, this system, this structure will build a website for you at no cost if you choose to use that website. Lots of agents use it, but not all of them. But let's say the second section here is, let's say you want to add this listing portal to your existing website because you love all that content. It takes you about 2 seconds. You're given the code here to use, the URL. You can simply cut and paste that under your listing link, and when that's opened up, this is what the consumer will see. They'll see your personal portal within your template, okay? Again, that's free of charge if you choose to use it, but you don't need to move away from your existing system. IDX will still continue to work.
And so that will include all listings, not just mine.
Exactly, absolutely, and no cost to you as an agent. Let's say you wanted to add the search bar into your website. That code is there. Let's say you wanted agents to be able to sign up to your PCS account directly from your website. So this is an agent's website. It has nothing to do with us, but we gave him this code. He made it look like a post-it note. When people click on that, it'll allow them to circle the area that they want to search, add their search criteria, and give their name and email to that agent. And when he activates them, they're automatically in his PCS account, getting all listings through his template. So it's all about him. So that's another tool that you can add for free to your existing website. Also, if you want to put your listings in place, so let's say you spent a lot of money and your photographer was adding content to your listings and then you were pushing them into the MLS, you could add those to your website. So this is not anything we produce. This is this guy's website, but we give his web guy the code to be able to add these. And this is now the exposure template that the AutoLoad system produced with all of his content, his high-res photos, everything in place that he added, so that everything is automated. All right? So I know it's a bit overwhelming because it's a lot of information coming at you, but the reality is what we've done is we've allowed one mechanism called AutoLoad to build your entire MLS backend so that you have all this content between agents. And it's created an entire front end that works for your website, your brokerage's site, the board's site, PCS, the search, and everything in between. So all of a sudden, AutoLoad magically builds a consumer engaging product. Does that make sense? Okay, any other questions? Yes, so if you want to not pay for a website anymore, this system will produce your website for you, and there's no cost.
So I'm just trying to understand, if they don't get to here, register all of what they would like to find in a home, if they just click on a listing, and then they say, this is my criteria, they will be attached to whatever the first click they make on the site is?
Are you saying when they sign up to PCS?
Yes.
Yes. So the reason that we've simplified the sign-up process is so that you get that client out of the gate. And it's a natural thing to follow up immediately with that client and say, I recognize that your sign-up search was very limited. You didn't get to select a lot of different properties. Would you like me to make this more specific? That being said, we also have the ability, and I'm not sure how your board works this way, but we can talk about this later, is we can allow that consumer to change their own search. Some of the boards allow that, some don't. So again, it's up to you as a board to decide how you want to do that. So in this case, let's say that the agent or the client had no ability to change their search. You would then be in touch with them. They could change their search through you, or we could give them the tools to change it on their own and make it as specific as you wanted them to. Okay?
Hi, it's a very simple question, actually. You said it will have a map, your listing will have a map, which currently we do have a map, a location, but you said that the consumer or the viewer will be able to ask for ways to drive, because right now what we have doesn't link to Google Maps, for example. It doesn't give you, you have to try to put a pin on your Google map in order to find out how to get to a listing location.
Christine, those speakers aren't facing me, so I didn't really hear that. Can you say that again? Just to repeat it in short form.
The location of a listing will be linking to, for example, Google Map, hello, or Maps. We can actually.
Sorry, I still don't understand. Will it have anything to do with Google Maps? Is that the question? Okay. 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 So when you're first listing that property, oops. You will be able to pick it. We will have this zoomed in to work with the Bahamas addresses through Google Maps. Google has an index of all the different street names and so on. So it will bring down that drop-down menu of street names. If for whatever reason it's not there, it will bring you into the center of the Bahamas. You will then be able to, zoom in or out of this map, and you will need to then locate exactly where that property is and then drop the pin where it belongs. If Street View is not available, it simply won't show up here. If it is available, it'll show up and it'll allow you to point it the right direction. That's how that'll work. The reason that we put this dropping of the pin early in the process is because almost all systems are using this location services, and consumers are using maps to find listings because they know they want to be on a certain island. They go onto the map, they go straight to that island. They don't want to look through a long list to be able to find what's on that island. They just want to look at a map and then go to that listing. So let's just go to an email here. I have an example to show you of your area. Okay, just a second. So for example, here's your region. If you don't map your listing properly, it is not going to show up properly. I'll give you an example of what happens in Canada. If people do not map and drop a pin properly, right here, they show up straight in the middle of the country, which happens to be in the middle of Winnipeg Lake. And there's 35 listings there, so we still have a ways to go. Autoload is still starting to be used, but Autoload is designed to correct that problem because agents don't realize how difficult it is for consumers to find their listing if they don't map it correctly. Okay, so hopefully that answered your question. All right, so we're using Google as a backdrop. We're using it as the base map, but it has nothing beyond that to do with Google. It's just that Google has the structure in place to be able to find that location for you. All right. So somebody brought out a good point here. So just so that there's no confusion, everything that we're showing you today is not new. Everything that we've talked about exists now. It's just that it's in an old format. So for example, the BahamasMLS.com is your public portal that shows all of your listings to the consumer. We're just giving you the upgraded 2019 version, okay? So nothing is changing that way. It's going to stay the same. Everything will operate the same. Brokerages will have the options to the upgraded new version. If you're tired of the IDX and the way that works, you have an option to have a system full of content that can have a lot of other content elements around it, which we're going to talk about here in the next hour. So again, it's all optional, and these tools are just upgrading what currently exists, okay? So now we're going to get into some of the tools that you use every day as agents, and we're going to look at how we can do that. Before we go there, we're going to talk just quickly about branding. As you go through this new MLS system, you'll see that the search, the PCS, the public element of it, all shows listings in your template. So under the branding tab, we have different ideas for you. And again, this is optional. There is a cost to the design company, which we hire out a design company to deal with this. But if you want your own look for an agent, that's possible. Again, for your own business page, for example, if you use the free websites that are included and you want to have your own look, that'll affect that business page as well. For brokerages, if you love this system and you want your agents sending out content in your brand as a brokerage, then here's the way that you can customize your brokerage. And these are some of the ones that have done custom brands so that all of your agents are sending out listings using PCS and so on, and it's your logo as a brokerage that keeps getting sent to the consumers. If people are using Facebook, if you teach your agents to use that, your brand is getting sent through the community a lot. So it's well worth thinking about to put that together. Okay, so let's go to the search feature. The search feature in the MLS has changed somewhat. You'll see the structure is basically the same, but of course now you can use it on your tablets, your phone, on any device. Let's just do a quick example. Let's look at a town. We'll look at single family, and we'll go search. So all of your filters are in here. Again, to go back to that one question of, let's say we want to send out single family with cottage. We do single family. We could then go under style, or we could go under amenities or site influences, depending on how your structure is set up. If something needs to change there, we can definitely make that happen. Okay, so we've searched. We've got 56 listings. We click search. Those listings now display. They'll display in table format, or grid we call it. You can now look at these in map view if you choose to, and you can also look at them in thumbnail view. When you click on the photo, it'll quickly pull up the gallery and allow you to go through that. If you click on the listing itself, it will open up in the template of the agent who owns that listing. So as we flick through these different listings, you'll see that it shows you who the agent is, their contact information, and any media that they may have added to that system. And this is directly within the MLS structure itself. Let's just go through a few more. So if you decide that you want to brand yourself in this, it will show in the MLS as well. Okay, so let's go back to the grid view. Within this grid view, you have the ability to arrange things. Simply drag them and drop them, and it will change how that displays. Under the Actions button, you also have the ability to add and remove columns. So let's say you want to add a percentage column. You also want to add the photo gallery location map. Let's say you want to add the commission split and days on market. You can apply. Those will be brought into your grid, and then you can move them where you want. So if we want to bring this camera up front and the map location, we can. If we want to bring this percentage here, and let's say price sold, let's pull a few solds in here and the percentage icon. Let's just go back and search again here. We're going to include solds. And we're going to go back to October. Oh. Sorry, bear with me here. January 1st, okay. So we've got 7 sold, so we're going to search. Okay, now we're going to bring these in And I'm going to show you exactly how that'll work to add a percentage column, for example. So we add that percentage column, we apply it, we bring the price sold over to the price that's listed, and then we bring the percentage column over. And then you'll see it automatically calculate the percentage of what it was sold for. So if we drag it, it'll do it differently. So it was listed at $3.99 and it sold for $3.89. So 98% of the value of the sold price. This one was listed at $4.27 but sold for $4.42, so it sold for 104%. And it'll go down, and then it'll give you the totals at the bottom. So you can use those percentage or ratios to figure out numbers to make it easy. You can export these listings into an Excel spreadsheet. Again, you have the ability to add all the different fields that you choose to. And then when you do that, you have the ability to save that current column layout. So if you have one layout that shows exactly your listings in the order you want, let's say you want the commission to be showing the days on market and so on, and then you have another layout that shows a bunch of other information, you can choose those column layouts and choose from them. Any questions on that? No? Straightforward? Okay. So that's there. You can also, arrange these, manually arrange these results. So you'll see it gives a bit of a flash here. You simply can drag these and put them in the order that you want them in. And that way, when you send them out to the consumer, that's how they'll send out. So there's lots of little features like that have been improved. You can save this list. You can remove listings, add listings, and so on. All right. Now, here's the interesting thing that has changed dramatically here is we're allowing you to email now a link that lets the consumer view a live interactive version of these listings. You can also include your data sheets like you normally have. So let's say we're going to email these links with data sheets. You can still print as normal, but we know that print is moving away and people are liking electronic things more and more. So let's go 6 listings. Let's select all of these. So we're going to say we're going to send all of these listings out. Okay, so you can put your consumer's email in there. Here you can include your public listing portal if you want to, as well as any documents. So there's your data sheets like normal. What you see at the top is a link to click here to view interactive listings. So when your client clicks on that link, we call this the MLS Gateway. So now they have the opportunity to look at listings this way. They can look at them in their gallery, your photo gallery. They can open the listing and it will show up in your custom template or whatever template you choose to use, your brokerage's template. Any media that's been added to the listing will pull through so that consumer is able to look at the media associated with that listing. You've brought some solds in there. They also can look at this in a map view. If they don't like the thumb view, they can see what islands these listings are on, what ones you sent them. They can also look at these in table view. So there's lots of options. If they click more listings, again, this is where you added your public listing portal. They will then look at your public portal that's all about you with all of the listings, and they can choose to look at whatever listings they want to look at. And if they want to sign up to your PCS account, they can do that. We're also working on this so that you can add a PCS sign up right into this menu, which will be nice because then you have that option. Send it to your client and say, click on this link and you can sign up to my PCS account, and they're now your client. So let's say that the consumer clicked on a few of these and those are their favorites. They have under their actions button the ability to print them. So they'll be able to use the different print templates. They could print a tour sheet and get ready for the tour that you're going to take them on. They could also get driving directions, and then they could send those to their phone. It's all using the latest APIs for all of those tools. Let's say that they wanted to email these back to you. It automatically fills your email in, and they can send you a message. And then when you get this email, you click on that link, and you can see what their 3 favorites are. and then you can book those listings to go and get ready to show them to that consumer. So it automates the process and allows you to do a lot of this over phone and email, or purely email. And it allows that consumer to have that fully interactive experience to what content is being built around your listings. And considering that you have some beautiful high-end listings in this region, let's show them in all their glory. Let's give that consumer the best experience possible. Any questions on the MLS Gateway and the search feature? No? Okay, good. Okay, with PCS, you'll note that it's a brand new system that works exactly the same. All your clients will be in the old system as well as the new system simultaneously, so nothing changes that way. But it now will work on your phone just as well as it does on your computer or on your tablet, and you'll be able to release listings to consumers if you've had them queued. You'll be able to set up searches automatically while you're standing in line at Starbucks and handle all these different things. I'll give you an example of what the consumer sees. So I'm signed up with an agent through his PCS account. So I get a new listing. It says view changes to your account. We're still going to put the old one in place, but I'll show you the consumer difference. So let's look at the old one first. So this is the old style system that we have in place now. And this is the new look that we have for consumers to look at now. So here, they can still have their favorites. They can have things in place. Again, now they have full res photos to look at, unlimited. When they open up the listing, it's in your template. All of the media is there, so they can literally walk through those floor plans and be able to look at that property. So here's an example of a property where they've added some content outside of that house, including a panorama. There's aerial icons for aerial videos and aerial photos. So it's pretty interesting for the consumer to be able to look at this. The 3D showcase, the multimedia link, they're all there, and they can learn a little bit about you if they don't know you already. And that's how they're able to see things through PCS. They are also able to look at it through a map view or through a grid. And again, I think in your region, the map is as important or more important than most regions because of the separation of islands. They can see what island the listings are actually contained on instead of having to go through the details and look at that carefully. Okay, any questions on the PCS product? Okay, we have one here.
If you have time, I'm not sure that I was using the PCS properly.
Okay.
Can you go over that again for me, please?
Okay. So typically you would need to sign up a client into your PCS account manually. The new system allows them to automatically sign up. So just to be sure, when you get an email saying there's a new client in your PCS, you have to click Activate Client Now in that email, and then they will be able to gain access. And you will see their name here that they're now a PCS client. Otherwise, what you would do is you would go into the Actions account here and you would click New Client. And then, now this is live, so I better not save this, but let's put Darren. And you can add as much or as little information as you want about that client. You're going to need their email address. I'm going to need to save it. Oh, well. Okay, and so I guess I didn't save, or I didn't set him up. Let's just search me again. Okay, so now what you do is you go to the PCS tab here, and you can set him up to be able to receive listings immediately, or you can go daily, you can go whatever day of the week. You can even set the time. So let's say we want it daily at 8 o'clock a.m. So that means every time a listing that fits the search criteria that I'm set up for, I'll get an email at 8 o'clock a.m. daily with those new listings. If you set it up immediately, let's say that client is really interested in everything that's new, every time a new listing hits the system, they'll get an email sending them out a link so that they can look at those. Here you can also get an email back to yourself. So every time your client is emailed, it will also email you. This might get a little bit tiring if you do this for every one of your clients, but let's say you know that client is ready to buy. You may want to get an email every time they're emailed so you can go into PCS and see exactly what they see. And that would be an advantage there. Okay. Then you're going to set up that search. Sorry, I haven't done this for a while. Okay, so we're in PCS, and now we're going to set up that new search. So you give that search a title. You can say, I'm just going to call this testing, but you could say it's beachfront condos, whatever unique title you want, and you can set up multiple searches for each client. Here you can also queue new listings. What that means is if you set this to queue new listings, it will not send out any listings to that client until you go through and you remove the ones you know that they don't want to see, and then you can release them, and it'll only send them the listings that they want to see. So a use case scenario for that would be a client says to you, I do not want any properties on a busy road. Don't send me a single property. Well, the system isn't smart enough to know what is a busy road and what isn't, but you are. So you would queue those listings, remove the ones on busy roads, and release the rest of the listings. So that's how the queue listing works. It will also show some sold listings for a period of time, or you can hide those if you don't want those to show. You can also allow that client to view his search criteria. So there's a few options there. So here is where you will set up that search, and then you will save it. They will get those listings. So let's just do that. We're going to look in Nanaimo and single-family properties, and we only want to see stuff that's between 500 and 700. And then it shows you, okay, there's 118 listings. Let's tighten that up a bit. Let's go 575. Okay, so there's 73 listings. We're going to save this. Here is where we talked about that earlier. If we put that we only want to send out ones with additional accommodation, that's now selected. It brings it down to 32 listings. Let's save that. And then I will get an email as the client showing that there is a new listing. So there's the email I received. Welcome to Private Client Services. I can access my account here. Tells you to bookmark the page. So now I'm the client. You have to give email consent. I accept. And it gives a few instructions. And there's all the listings that you set me up with the search, and you'll realize that they're only ones with additional accommodations, and it all shows in my template. So I can go through these different listings and look at them. As a client, I'm able to favorite the ones that I like. So I select this one, and I can add it to my favorites. I can remove that listing. Now, you as an agent, in your side of things, you can search this client, and you can look at their icon here, and you can see exactly what they see. So it's a two-way mirror into their system. Here you can see how many times they've viewed things. So you can see I've looked at this one 2 times. I've viewed this listing 3 times. You can see when the last time they've checked in to view listings. So it really gives you an understanding of how urgent that client is for looking at listings. Any other questions about PCS? Let's get the mic to you.
So when it's sent to your client, it's like it's from you, it's not the listing agent?
That's right. So everything that they open up here opens up in your template. It's all about you with your contact information. It's just it simplifies you not having to send them listings every single time you think they need a listing. This just automates it for you so that they get exactly the listings that match and they get them immediately. Because what would happen if they were really hot to buy a property, you were a day behind sending them a new listing? Who are they upset with? With you. So if the system automates it, then they get it automatically. All right. Any other questions? Okay, good. Now, here's another quick way of searching the MLS and sending it to your clients. Let's say you are in Starbucks or you're on the golf course, you're on the tee, somebody that you know is a good client phones you and says, hey, I want to look at some properties. Can you send me 3 properties? You can do the other one through your cell phone if you want, but this one's really quick. So you can open up what's called the MLS portal. You can simply click the area, type of property. You can do your price range. Again, let's say it's $550 to $650. And you can choose your beds and baths, the size, or even the status. If you want to send them a few solds or expireds, you could. For whatever reason, you might want to do that. And then you want to narrow this down because you know they only want to look at properties in this area. You can just tap your phone, draw on that area. You will only get these properties showing up. You can delete any one of those that you want. If you like what you see, you can just click the email button. It will open up the email on your phone. You can send those to your client. Oops. And what your client will get is they'll get basically this map view of what you sent them. So if we look at the email that was sent, your client opens up that link. Those are the listings that they have. They can favorite a few of those, and then they have the ability to email right back to you, and it populates your email. So it's a simplified, dumbed down version of the MLS search. You don't have as many filters, but literally in seconds you can send that consumer listings directly from your phone. Any questions on that product? It's this button here called MLS Portal, right in your search bar, and there will be a little video here that you can watch as you first open up, and it'll explain exactly what I did. Okay? So it's a useful feature that's now part of your MLS system. All right, now to see, how many people have looked at your listings through the public side of things, through the PCS side of things, through the MLS, how many agents, if you go to your listings and you click on one of your listings here, let's go to one that's actually not sold. You'll be able to click on your site stats, and it'll bring up a few site stats, and then you can email those to your seller right here, or you can click on the dashboard, and this will open up a complete system that you can maneuver through hundreds of different ways to be able to look at your site stats. So you'll be able to see where in the world people are coming from that have looked at your listing. You'll be able to see where your traffic came from. So for example, we see Facebook generated some listings. The agent's brokerage website generated some. Another brokerage's website. You can see that your campaign, which is PCS, brought in 24 different visitors. And so the better you get to learn how to use these stats, the stronger you will get at knowing how to market your MLS listings. This will tell you what pages on your website that Autoload built were looked at. Did people look at the brochure? Here we see yes 19 times, the map 50 times, details 94 times. The video tour was 14 times. You'll start to understand what things are paying off and what things aren't. You can see when people are coming during the week, how many minutes are spent, what devices they're using, and you're surprised to see that smartphones are taking over the search. So we have more people looking in this on a smartphone than on a desktop. And so this is why this entire process, everything I've showed you, works on mobile. Your personal website, all your search, your PCS, everything is built for mobile through this system. so that the consumer doesn't lose anything. All right, now we're going to just log out and show you a few new features. I just need to log into a different account. These ones are coming. Okay, so the new CMA. CMAs are something that are typically so complicated that people have a very difficult time using them. So we've completely reinvented how a CMA is used and created, and I want to show you how this works. So to create a new CMA, you can create one for a buyer or you can create one for a seller. And I think that actually creating a CMA for a buyer will be even as valuable as ones for sellers, because if they want to put an offer on a property, you could create it quickly. You could quickly create this in seconds and be able to show them exactly what's happening with that property. So, again, just bear with me here. Okay. You would put the subject property address in. Okay, now in the Bahamas, we will not be able to probably auto-populate this until you guys start getting more data structured. But as your community starts to get publicly available data, like through the assessment authority, we'll be able to pull from that and pull your data in automatically. That will come in the future, I'm sure of it. But for now, you would just add in that property's address, and if it's ever been listed, we will do a search through the back-end MLS database, and we'll pull in this information if we can find that it's been listed before. Otherwise, you can fill in this manually, how many bedrooms, bathrooms in that house, year built, and so on. And if you think, yeah, that property's probably going to sell for around $500,000, you can put that in there. It just helps speed up the process. And then what it'll bring in the property, and if it's been mapped before, it'll bring in those coordinates. If not, you'll just drop a pin where that property is located. Then it brings in the comparable properties around that. And you know, okay, if you think it's around 500, let's tighten this up. Let's say we don't want to go between 475 and 540. It'll research and it'll bring in those properties. Here at the top, you can decide how many properties you want to display. So if you want to display 5 actives, 5 solds, 3 expireds, and 3 pendings, that's what you can set it to pull in. Over here, it will show you what's actually available in the MLS database. So we have 0 pendings, but we have 5 actives, 5 solds, and 3 expireds. But let's just zoom into this map and you think, okay, well, I don't want to show any outside of this island or this region of this island. What you can do is you can simply draw a circle or you can draw a polygon, whatever you need to, around those properties, and it will eliminate everything else. But let's say you want to tighten it up even more. You can do that. Okay, and if it can still find 5 solds, 5 actives, and expireds, it'll bring them in. Let's say you only want to show waterfront property. You can click on this waterfront. If you only want to show ranchers or bungalows, you can click on that. Of course, it starts to limit the choices, but it will continue to be smart enough to only look for those choices. So you can tighten those up, and the choices are there. Let's go next. So now this is not completed, but I'll show you how it is going to work. It automatically brings in those listings. You can click on those listings. You can see it in the template of the agent that owns that listing and any content that they may have provided around that listing. It brings in the list price, and you don't have assessed values here, but it would bring in the sold price for the sold listings, and it'll give you the percentage of list to sold. Then it starts calculating the list to sold price below. It calculates the average of all the comparables that you brought in. It'll calculate the average of the sold list price as well as the sold price. And it brings those in for each category. and then it will total them at the bottom. That's the part we haven't finished quite yet. Then you have a rounded out total, all automatically calculated for you. If you want to remove any listings from here, you can. If you want to add any, you can. You have full control over this. You can also put in sort of your minimum guess of what you think it's going to list for. Let's say we're going to say 490 to 510. And then we're going to go next. Now, this part, again, is still in the process of being built. But what this is going to do is it's going to search through the whole PCS database, and it's going to look for all the searches that are set up that fit this particular listing. And that way you'll be able to say to that client, if we price this at $414.9, it's going to match 879 searches that are set up through the MLS. If we price it at another 5,000 higher, we're going to still get the same amount of traffic. If we go another 5 higher, we're going to get only -4. But if we go to 529.9, we're going to lose 231 searches. So you're able to show that client, if they price it too high, how the people that are actively looking for that type of property are going to drop off the map. And it's important for them to know that, and it helps you to justify the price that you're coming in with. It's a very powerful feature, and consumers know that computers don't lie. So it just takes the pressure off of you. Okay, we click next. Now you have the ability to send this out as an active, what we're calling CMA gateway. So you can send this to your client, or you can just open it up while you're with them. Your client actually gets an active way to look at real listing data through the MLS system. So they have the ability to look at the different listings in thumbnail or map view. You then break it down by status, so you can show them the active ones. You can walk through why you picked those listings. They can see the different information. They can then see the breakdown of averages and percentages and so on, which is powerful. It breaks it down one at a time. They can keep this and look at it on their own time. When they open one of those listings, of course, it opens up in your template. This is all about you as an agent, so no matter what listing it is, it'll now show in your template. It'll then summarize all the different listings that you brought in and give a total at the bottom. It'll show them the prospecting. And if we go back, we can also include your public listing portal in here, so that if they don't believe you after they've gone through all these different things, they can click on more listings, and it'll open up your public portal and show every listing, and that way they won't be confused. So there's a fully interactive CMA created within seconds that your consumer now can keep and look at all these listings as long as they need to look at them. Does that make sense for a CMA? Let's open it up to questions to do with the CMA.
When will this be active?
What's that, sir?
When will this be active?
We should have this, at least phase 1 of this, what you're seeing, by April 1st. We're going to continue to work on the CMA to make it more solid and strong. As far as, if you want to create a print version of this live version, we're going to be working on that. But what I've showed you here will be active by April 1st. Now, I just want to show you a little bit more. The client, again, has the ability to print these. They can get driving directions and so on. But we have a new product, and this is the product that you can decide on as a body whether you want to upgrade to this product. It's called Trends. And if we work these trends into the system, there's a lot of added content that looks really good on agent sites and within that CMA. So let's look at this site, for example. And you'll notice that there's, oh no, maybe it's not on that one. Bear with me, it's in a different account. What this system does is it goes and searches through the entire MLS and brings up reports, trends, graphs, and so on, all about the MLS data that's being used within that system. Let's just see if I can find the listing. Sorry, we kind of buried this one. Oh, and maybe one of my people took it off. This is where it's scary to do things live. Okay, well, we'll come back to that. Let's look at the system as it sits. So if you click on the Trends button, again, this, if you choose to have it, this could be in place within a couple of months, April 1st. So here you can search your entire board, or you can break it down to different areas. Let's just say we're searching the entire board. You have the ability now, with the push of a button, to build 11-page report. We'll just do one page here. Just bear with me. So for example, you want to look at what's closed listings, what's the information around those listings. It'll automatically pull that report for you so that you don't have to do any of this manually. So again, in seconds, these are created for you so you can sit with your client and be able to show them exactly how these listings are built. Let's say that you want to show, well, what's sold by days on market. You can pull up a graph, and you can show them what's sold in week 1, week 2. Oh, we're losing our crowd. Week 3. And this will help them to understand what's happening in your marketplace. So for example, you can see here that 97.03% sold in January, and we're coming down here almost a year later, we're down to only 95% of the listings sold. So it gives you the kind of information to be able to offer your consumer, and then you can put it into a PDF format and email it to them. You also have the ability to add these to your websites. If you like graphs and information like this to your websites, that can happen automatically. You can even look at your own stats. So you can say, well, you know, what did I do here as an agent? You'll be able to break down your units sold, what categories they fit into. So if you're a stats person, this is a very interesting product to use. There's also dashboards that you can use that'll help you to break down the MLS information. You can look at what's sold on different islands, the types of properties. You can step it down by percentages and dollar values. So this is a little deep to be able to have, cover very quickly. But what this system does is it automatically brings in information from the MLS and allows you to understand what's happening in your system. Okay, not getting much deeper into that. Any questions on trends? Yes. What's that, sorry? That entire system will be $1 per agent per month. And just wish I could show you how it was integrated. I'm just going to give one more try to see if I can find how it's actually integrated into your websites and into the CMA. It was here this morning. Why it's gone, I am not sure. But unfortunately, it's gone. But what will happen is on the CMA, it will automatically pull up the trends in the CMA when you go to show it to your client. And it'll show the graphs. It'll allow them to look through what's happening in the MLS. They can see active properties, what's on the market, how it's changing over the months, what's sold, but it'll only show them the trends and graphs built around that and built around that region. And you will be able to use that tool to, again, attract consumer engagement. So that's my fail for today, that didn't show up the way I wanted it to. But there's literally dozens of different reports here and dozens of different ways of looking at properties. So instead of having to do all of this manually, it's all done for you. And if there's certain reports that the board wants or that you want as agents, we can build those into the system for you. so that everything is there that you might want. Okay, again, any questions? No? Okay, any questions about the system as a whole? It's a lot of information for one session. Okay, here. Let's get you a mic first, sorry.
Hi, you said phase 1 will be ready April 1st. How many phases will there be, and how long will it take to implement all of them?
Okay, good question. So this entire system, except for the trends and the CMA, will be in your account today. So when you log into Interface Express, you'll see an exposure icon to the right-hand side. You'll click on that, it will log you into your system, okay? The CMA, and if you decide to opt in with the trends, will be available April 1st. The CMA is the one that we're coming in phases, so what I showed you today will be available April 1st. The phases beyond that will be additional to what I showed you, okay? So everything that you saw today, most of it's already in place right now. So play with it. We're going to be teaching the MLS staff here exactly how this system works. We're also having a session for all of your support staff, and we're going to be teaching them, so you should have lots of support coming through this. You'll see that if you want things branded, or if the brokerage wants to have some of these tools implemented, under the branding tab, you can reach out to us for more information and getting started and so on. We'll be able to answer those questions. Again, under this question, need help, that'll come right to our tech team, and we'll be able to answer your technical questions. All right, so thank you everyone for your participation. Thanks for listening. It's, again, a lot of information, and we look forward to seeing your listings.